Welcome everyone to another episode of the Warmup. I'm here with guys. It's me, man. It's Chris Rivers. We got no chance. He's still out here in the playoffs, and then we got the Kev RL in the building. Say what's up to people who are tuning into us this episode, guys.
What's up? What's up? Thanks for joining. Hope you enjoyed this episode.
What's up? It's good.
Cool. And if this is your first time listening to us, we talk about sports, current events, and things in between through the lens of Black culture. Catch us every Wednesday on your favorite podcast platform, or if you're on YouTube, man, check us out there, man, for the video version of this episode. So check us out on the social medias, Instagram and Twitter, _warmup_pod. We have a TikTok, the.warmup.pod, and we finally have the Reddit username and also a Discord, Grindhouse NTWK for Reddit, and then for Discord with Grindhouse Network, which is a searchable domain, which is, fun community, safe community, talk about sports and unrelated things. So, come in if you want to. Feel free to engage with us on any of those platforms. And yeah, also follow, like, subscribe, tell a friend if you like what you hear. It'll help the algorithm push us up more, and which give you more what you want. So again, just to let us know, give us some feedback in the comments. Like I said, what we can do good or better, or what we're doing well, how we can do better, things of that nature, man. And again, all of that stuff is much appreciated. So anything else you guys want to add?
No, I think you hit all them notes, man.
Indeed.
Cool. All right, well, let's get right into what we're going to talk about this episode, man. And we talk about the playoffs, because the playoffs is popping right now, and it is down to the final four, who are, they're surprisingly the same final four of the people who said the bubble was not a real thing, and we're back in here 3 years later. But that's neither here nor there. We'll talk about that a little bit, but first we'll talk about people who got bounced out, and more specifically the Philadelphia 76ers, who got waxed in Game 7, where they just let Jason Tatum just set a new NBA playoff record in points by just letting this dude here just do whatever he wants to do. And it looked like the Sixers just mailed it home. They was like, you know what, I don't feel like doing this no more. So I'm good. I'm good with my trophy, my participation trophy, and my paycheck. I'm going home for the summer. I'm sure James Harden went to a strip club that night. But this is the fourth time of Embid has been in the semifinals in the Eastern Conference, and the fourth time that Embid has lost in the semifinals. He has not won. He hasn't even sniffed a conference final yet. So, MVP.
He sniffed it. Well, that's it.
Yeah, you can say that. Yeah, maybe.
Okay.
That Kawhi shot.
Oh, that's what it was. Okay, well,
Came down to the wire.
You know what?
Downhill from there.
You know what? If that's the closest he's gonna get to it, then fine. Sure. You may be right. Maybe just stand next to Harden, because he's also been in the conference final at least once in his career.
Yeah.
So,
there you go.
So yeah, he knows people who knows people, but he ain't never been there himself. But Embiid on his post-game interview mentioned something where it, paraphrasing, that it can't just be him and Harden. It has to be more people stepping up, and that's why it's 5-on-5, not whatever he said, 2-on-5 or whatever. So yeah, this is kind of a thing. So is this leadership? This is the kind of leadership that you're looking for out of Embiid, considering he's a NBA MVP, and I said he probably didn't deserve it, but that's okay. We're not gonna talk about that. We're gonna talk about playoff Embiid, playoff process.
I thought you changed your mind. I thought you changed your mind. I thought you said, I'm mad at that.
I ain't mad at him. I ain't mad at him. I just said I don't see it. I don't see it. I see Jokic. But
I'm mad at him. No, yeah.
Okay. So tell me how y'all feel.
Not for winning the MVP.
Oh, okay. Well, tell me how you feel, man. What do you think about his choice of words?
I mean, first of all, how you start with it can't just be me and James. You and James wasn't there. How you centering yourself? You didn't show up. Like, I don't understand how somebody that big, that dominant, who had the season, he kept his name kept popping up and people advocating for him. Why he's an MVP, and all those things are true. His regular season performance, but that it shouldn't just. I'm not expecting just because you had a regular MVP season that you got to be the most amazing thing since sliced bread. But at least give me something. you can't just disappear. You can't disappear. Game 6, Jason Tatum having the worst career night found a way by himself to turn it around and become clutch when he needed to win everything. And that getting them to game 7, and he followed up with another big performance. Meanwhile, they had back-to-back poor showings and have the nerve to stand up in front of the camera and say, it can't just be me and James. Hello, we saw Miami Heat, right? Butler had every excuse. Find a way. Jalen Brunson, Randall got injured. Randall came back. Might as well have been injured. He found a way to keep it going, and I don't know. I don't know what convinced. And this is not the first time he did it. Before was Ben Simmons. You know, when they came out and said, "Oh, that was the reason." Now we talking about last season. We need Harden to be that guy. Harden gave you 2 games. When I say 2 games, I mean he won you 2 games. Yeah. He really gave you some really good performances, more than just 2 games. But those 2 games he did really well, and those got you the win. So you weren't by yourself. When do you show up? And if it's injury or something else, you know, just say, hey, you know what, better next year. But to call out your teammates when you're the guy, keep the same energy during contract negotiations. When the money's getting split around, be like, hey, it just can't be me and James. That's all I'm gonna say. Yeah. That's what I'm gonna leave it at. And you know, coach is gone. We talked about, you know, his faults, his shortcomings, and how he might have been overrated as a coach. It sucks the season he gets fired. I can't even put this one on. Those 2 performances when Tatum was having an off night and y'all had a chance to win it, that should have been the time for you to give me the ball. I'm in the paint. I'm a dominant big guy. Like, who? Horford, Robert Williams. Who was gonna stop you? I don't get it.
Well, I mean, if he's only playing 2-on-5, then I think there's 3 other players who can stop him collectively. But you know, this.
No, but I mean, in the turn, if you give him the paint, who's like what Marcus Smart?
Hey, he did a good job.
I understand there's 3 other players, but I mean, literally, who's physically gonna stop you? Just turn around, put your hand up, and put in the hand basket. Just get in the bucket when you needed it. That's what I mean.
Robert Williams,
maybe, but I don't think Robert Williams is the one shutting him down. So I mean, I don't know.
Okay.
Man, you said he's the MVP, and you didn't expect, you know, not because you're the MVP of the season, that means you got to come in here and be like, you know, this big superstar. I'm gonna slightly disagree with that and say yes, you was an MVP. At the very least, yeah, you can have a bad game, but at the very least, take responsibility. Like, if you are the most valuable player, you're here talking about the others. I've never heard Shaq talk like that. I've never heard LeBron talk like that. I've never heard AD talk like that. I've never heard anybody who's considering themselves the best player on their team to say, "Oh well, we need the others." Then you need the others, obviously, but in that crunch time, you need to take responsibility for it. And from everybody else I've heard come to the podium in a tough loss, the words they've usually said is, "That's on me." And you appreciate that, because at least they recognize their role in the events that transpired. I feel like he's excluding himself from the equation, and I don't appreciate that from him. I expected more from him than to put himself out of it as though we're not looking to you to be the closeout. Like, that's where MVP comes in. That's where the best player comes in. The others got you throughout the whole game, play that good defense, but when the time comes down to get those W's in crunch time, I expect it from you. Yes, you and Harden. You talking about the other guys? No, I'm looking at you and Harden. Everybody's looking at both of you. So I was very disappointed to hear him put that phrase out there. I think those are a poor choice of words and a poor expression of maybe the value he has for himself and the value he has for his teammates. I didn't like it at all. Poor leadership.
Okay. Well, I think, no, I will say this. You know, I do believe that he's not, he wasn't my MVP, but you know, that's totally fine. But I will say this, that given all of the criticism about him saying what he said with respects to, it can't just be him and blah, blah, blah. He did also mention that he's going to get better. He did mention that in the post game. So
He did.
Yeah, I feel like he is taking responsibility. I also feel like he is also trying to hold people to a higher standard of, getting better, because it can't just be him and Harden getting better. But, that maybe is just how I interpreted it. I didn't really think too much of this. This is pretty much of a non-factor. I mean, this is, to me, this is just the culture of Philadelphia Sixers at this point. I mean, they are trusting the process at a detriment to the organization. He's never gotten you outside of the second round. You had someone who could potentially get you out of the second round in Jimmy Butler, and you paid Tobias Harris. Does anyone know anything about what's going on with Tobias Harris? The dude's making how much money, and he's putting up how many points? This is almost like the biggest fleece aside from Ben Simmons at this point. You're paying the wrong people, and it is being a lot to ask of Embiid. Now, like I said, he's MVP. He's probably one of the most dominant big men in the game, and he can get a shot anytime he wants to, when he chooses to. So, I do think that he is being a leader, but I think, he's a byproduct of the culture of the organization, which is like they put all their eggs in one basket, but they failed to realize that it's really more so about chemistry and having the right pieces that fit, instead of having, the pretty piece in James Harden, or the, what the other people in the arena wanted to say, or wanted to have with Tobias Harris. Like, I never saw this team going past the second round, because they've never been past the second round, and they've had better talent than this.
But they played well. They had games where you saw the potential, right? Like, you saw the potential when Embiid was out. Going back to what you're talking about, Harris, Melton.
Deontay Melton, yep.
Yeah, Melton.
Who I do like. I really like him. Maxey.
And Harden. So it was a weird showing for everybody. I'm gonna be honest. It was a weird showing for everybody in both games. And I don't think they treated the games as though they believed that they were actually going to close out and get to the next level. It's almost like
they gave up, bro.
Yeah, it's almost like they're like, man, I saw a lack of belief. Maybe I prefer to say lack of belief than to say they gave up. I just saw a lack of belief, and then I didn't understand how it went down that way. So I agree with you that maybe they could have better pieces, but we've seen how that team can play when those same pieces that we're talking about are locked in. They can play well, and they can beat the full squad of the Celtics.
Yeah.
So it's like, what happened? Like, you had two chances.
Yeah. Well, to be fair, third quarter happened. They only scored 10 points. I don't know how you're gonna win. Look, we saw the Memphis and Lakers, and we was out here clowning the Grizzlies for only scoring 9 points in the first quarter. Philadelphia is the second. They're the second lowest right now. They're 10 points in one quarter, and it's the third quarter too, which is probably the most.
Lakers is a high-rated defensive team. We can't hear you, Reg. I was saying Lakers is a high-rated defensive team. So
they have an MVP.
Oh, okay.
Like they were not injured. Like, who was injured on the 70s?
Tyrese Maxey was injured for a little bit. I thought he came back in it was in the first round. No, I'm talking first round.
I mean,
but everyone else is healthy.
Embiid is hurt. They say
he was hurt.
I'm gonna take that away. But like you said, when you show up, if you're on the court, if you're injured, then you're not on the floor. So I don't know. Yeah. I don't know what to say. Like, there's a lot of excuses that I would make for Memphis that I won't. Like, they have the experience. They've been there. They've been in the playoffs. They know what it's like. They didn't get shell shocked. They didn't lose their center and Brandon Clark. They weren't rattled. They weren't facing LeBron James. Tatum and Brown are excellent players, but Tatum had a bad night that night. Like, how could y'all not close Game 6? It baffled me. I don't know.
Yeah. Well, Embiid did everything on cue. So, get kicked out in the second round. He gets injured every playoffs. Him and Chris Paul get injured every playoffs, by the way. So, par for the course. Par for the course.
I don't like that. I don't like that assessment. But you're right in the sense that this is what happened, what has happened, but
it happened again.
I don't like saying it like as though this is all he has to offer us. You know what I mean? Because it really was looking different this year. Like I think you could have been sitting here and have completely different stance had they have just got it together and did what they did the previous games to get those wins, and then we wouldn't have this conversation right now. So
Philly got a bad culture. Philly got a bad culture, man. I don't know, because people coming out of locker rooms and having all these things, throwing teammates under the bus, Doc participating and not curving it. Giannis had a very poor night on their closeout game, and not, I won't even say he had a poor night, just in terms of free throws. When he lost to the Heat and got eliminated this season, he did not come out of there talking about coach and his lack of calling the timeout. People had criticisms on how he uses challenges timeout. He didn't throw no teammates under the bus. He talked about how they prepared and they fell short of their goal this year. It's not the end all be all, and he'll be back next season. He didn't have to throw anybody under the bus. It's not a requirement. That doesn't help.
Yeah,
and prop himself up by saying he needs to get better. So it's like, I'm gonna throw y'all under the bus, but I'm gonna still make it, like you said, it's so like he took responsibility. Nah, he took responsibility in a good way. Like I'm gonna better myself. You know what I mean?
That to make up for these guys who don't show up.
Like, just set up everybody and just say, hey, we need to get better. Just say, hey, we weren't good enough. We need to get better.
I would have been fine with that.
Okay.
You said it can't just be us. You know what? Yeah. I'm gonna get better. Yeah.
Okay. So don't talk about the other people when you talk about yourself. What you need to do. I got you. I mean, that's a good formula. That's a good formula. So do y'all think he should stay?
Who?
Embiid?
Yeah. These ain't coaches. You can't just be firing players on max contracts and MVPs. Like,
okay.
He's not trash. Okay. He may not show up in the moments you want him to be, and that was critical for Curry. Like, he didn't really have the best playoff experiences until he figured out a way to be as effective as in regular season. So I mean, he just got to unlock that next chapter. I mean, the difference is the Warriors had a squad to help them get the job done. I feel like the 76ers, roster-wise, talent-wise, especially not having the injuries other teams who have had injuries and found a way to make it through, they had the pieces to be able to win the championship, or at least, at the very least, beat the Celtics.
They did?
Not initially. I called Celtics to win, to be honest with you, but
both of these teams, I would say Game 6. Game 7, Tatum had a great response to his Game 6, but Game 6, neither one of those teams are playing great.
That's true. No, I can get ahead of it.
And that's been a thing, at least for the Celtics, this playoffs. They had these ups and downs. You would expect them to close out. They don't close out. So they could have beat the Celtics. They could have taken the advantage of some of the struggles the Celtics had, and they didn't.
They didn't.
So it was winnable. Harden?
Yeah,
Harden it's rough. I think both of them, you can keep them. I don't doubt they can do something together. I don't know what it is. They can do something together. I don't know. Like, y'all got to figure it out. Like, if it's health, they got to figure out the management. I know I'm not a big fan of load management. They got to figure it out. I don't know what it is.
How you feel about that, Chris? Because we talked about trends, and we've seen this trend with Harden. He had those 2 good games, but he has this way of not showing up.
Look,
he did enough.
He did not do enough.
He didn't do enough. Remember I told you Harden needs to do what he did regular season, 20 and 10, and he did not do that. He gave me 40 and something, and I guess he said, all right, average that out, it'll be 20 and 10. But I needed to see 20 and 10 every single game, and he didn't do that. The last 2 games, it was 13 and 9.
Yeah, last game was 13 and 9. The game before that was 17. Like, 17 maybe respectable, but
yes,
13 and 9. Game two was, I would tell you, like,
what was the game when Embiid came back and he's straight trash after having
Game 3, I believe.
Game 3, then my bad.
And he had 16 in that game. So he had 45, 12, 16, 42, 17, 13, 9. Man said, just average it out, man. Like, I did enough to meet my average.
yeah.
He did average 22 points. So he got his average, but
I hear where y'all are coming from, but I just feel like he did enough in terms of that was enough for Embiid to get the job done. That's just how.
9 points.
That's not. I hear you.
In game 6, that was winnable. That's how I'm looking at it.
Game 6 was winnable. Yeah, I agree with you on that.
He shot 25%. He shot 25%.
Listen,
this was game 6. This was game 6.
What was the bet night? Okay, here's the question: is James Harden the best player on the team?
No, he's not the best player on the team.
So the best player on the other team was shooting like how Harden was shooting.
So what are you saying? There's something in the air? So we get everybody a pass?
What I'm saying is there was enough there for Embiid to get the job done. That's all I'm saying.
Not in those.
That's
games.
what it, huh?
Not in those games.
Game 6, I feel is that's how. I'm gonna die on that.
The man was 0 for 6 from 3-point range. At the end of the day, right, when you shoot this poorly, you're not only just missing shots, but you're taking away possessions.
I hear you on that.
And I understand what you're saying. The other team played poorly too, so therefore you could have capitalized. But if Harden just played up to what we expect him to play, what he did in the season, that would have been a win.
So we needed. But what we're essentially saying though, right? For that scenario is that we needed Harden to be the best player on the floor.
Not the best, because Embiid had 26 points.
We just need you to show up. I mean, you could like, okay, so Tatum had a horrible 3.5 quarters.
Yeah.
He had a great last 5 minutes of the game. Right?
He turned it around.
So you say like, yeah, he played as bad as James Harden. James Harden played throughout that the whole game, and he was the same level of impact. And that's the thing. If both people are playing well, if both people are playing around the same baseline, and they both are playing like bad at that point, you only really need a good 5 minutes to separate yourself from the team, because you know what I'm saying, like the bar is that low. But at the end of the day, Jason Tatum, there's a difference between Jason Tatum and Embiid, or even to a lesser degree James Harden. James Harden has not been that guy since Houston.
86-95. The game was 86-95. That was just
a lot of bricks. But
a lot of bricks. Just give me 2 of those threes, and it'll make a whole difference. Not just on your play and that play and the score, but for everybody else around too. Because when your best players are struggling, it makes it even that much harder for the others to contribute, because now the attention on you is not as much, because we know you don't have a good game, and I just want him to do what he did in the season. I didn't need him to be the best player, Reg. I needed him to just be the consistent, good, solid player he was during the regular season.
Like he wasn't getting them assists and the facilitating and all.
Nah, 6 and what was it in game 6?
He had 9 assists.
I just feel like in the game where nobody is shooting well, you would expect the shining star to be the person who shoots in that little perimeter, who can just body and find a way to the paint and at least get the foul. I don't know. Maybe I'm expecting too much from him.
No, you make sense. He had 26 points in game 6. That could have been more. He had 30-point games every other game before that, Embiid, except for the first game back. So he was playing up to his level, 30, 34, 33, and 26. That game 7, he was trash, but game 6, he wasn't that, like everybody was pretty mediocre. He was a little better than mediocre,
I guess.
And to be fair, I'm just looking at these box scores. Philadelphia has scored under 20 points in like one quarter at least in 3 of these games. The last 2, obviously, right? Like the third quarter of game 7 was 10 points. Game 6, there was the last quarter, the one where it was close and then pulled away, 13 points in the fourth quarter. Who does that fall on? Like, and again, I blame management, you want. I don't understand the Harden. I don't understand the Harden mix in this lineup. Look, you need to trade Tobias Harris. I don't care. Get him off your books as fast as possible.
Why?
Yes.
You don't like it? The money?
Because the dude that makes so much money to be this bad and consistently, it's no, you can't do that. It's unacceptable. If
something got his name.
If it was LeBron, we would be hacking on him for how much money he's making and what he's pulling in. Or I mean, it's not even had to be LeBron. It could be, I don't know. Like I said the same thing about Tyus Jones. Tyus Jones is he's the highest paid backup point guard. When it comes to playoff, dude,
just disappeared.
Will you? I'm like, so why am I paying you to be the best backup point guard, and then the playoff comes and
he was so good in the regular season.
You turn into Bogut. Like I'm confused. So
he was so good in the regular season. That's another one.
So Tobias Harris he got paid a lot of money in front of Jimmy Butler. That's why they went with Tobias Harris over Jimmy Butler. I ain't seen him since, and he's just out here just riding the wave until this contract expires. Get rid of him.
Yeah, I don't know. PJ Tucker wasn't playing great. Nobody was playing great.
Yeah,
it wasn't a good series.
It just wasn't a good. Yeah, it didn't gel the way that they probably had hope. And Embid's MVP season probably masked a lot of their weaknesses.
Yeah.
So still couldn't get them top 2 seed.
They were balling, Chris. Like as a team, I'm telling you, man, they had so many games where they were like out of it, and you were like, this is not a good night for the Sixers. And then out of nowhere, defense ramps up, and B takes over, as well as the other players contributing to spread the flow, making some threes. Maxey is doing his thing where he could drive and just cut. His speed is just untouchable. We saw it in a few games that they won. Like the guys them were in the driver's seat.
And you gotta do it.
So
you gotta do it 3 more times. You gotta do it 4 more times. You gotta do it 6 more times. It gets hard to keep reproducing that.
I feel like Jokic and Giannis would be done. That's how I feel.
I mean, Jokic no days off. He's my MVP.
But Giannis would have got it done too. Even in that poor free throw game, look at everything else he did.
Yeah. So really,
after coming off a back injury, so he was hurt.
That too. That too.
I don't know.
So y'all MVP. He's staying there. They're not gonna get rid of him, but they did get rid of Doc Rivers. Some people say it's about time. Some people say, the writing's on the wall. Some people will say, hey man, give black man a chance. So do y'all think this is the right move, well-deserved move? What do y'all think about this Doc Rivers?
I don't know about well-deserved, but it's writing's been on the wall for a minute. Something's not working out in Philly. You got to take accountability as a coach. Particularly out of all the losses they've had, I would say this one is the least one that I would attribute to him. That's just your superstars not showing up, and maybe you not finding. Maybe you can point out, why aren't those other guys getting involved the way they were in the regular season? I don't know. Whenever Doc Rivers' team seem to be poised to take the whole thing, whether it's 3-1 or 3-2, it just seems to go left. And time to go. That ain't working out. Time to go.
Got you.
They had 2 games back to back where Embid went to the podium and said the last something minutes or whatever, he didn't get the ball enough. He didn't get the ball enough. And I heard some analysts, I don't know if they will call them analysts, but they were talking about Doc and how he has a role to play in calling that timeout and saying, yo, get my man the ball. Get him the ball. Because sometimes as a player, you get caught up in the game and, you in it. So some things be a little fast and cerebrally, you're not there. You're probably in just your flow. And he's on the outside looking in, so he's not as caught up. So he has that bird's eye view, and he should be responsible for calling those timeouts and reminding them of what we should be doing, which is getting our guy the ball, getting our main person the ball, and put them in position to dominate. I heard that. I didn't disagree with it. I felt like he could have helped the situation. What I didn't understand is Embid said that 2 games back to back. So I'm like, the game where he said it, like, there were no adjustments. Like I'm confused. Did everybody not hear him? Like he didn't get the ball. So when that was repeated, it was just weird to me. It's like, coach, why you didn't say anything? And teammates, like, why y'all repeat the same thing that the dude just complained about the previous game? I say all that to maybe get us a little bit off track, but just to put some ideas out there on what people are saying about what he could have done differently, and maybe if he did do that, the whole series, the games where they could have closed out may have gone differently.
I feel like that's 50-50 though. Like, you know, I think, you know, okay, the coach has a bird's eye view, or you can drop the play, whatever the case is. Teammates can hear their teammate being like, yo, I want the ball. But also, you out, what is he, 7'2"? That's a big boy. He gets up in the block and puts his hand up like this, like, give me the rock. That's hard to not see.
I agree. I agree. We talk about AD all the time in that situation. They can't stop talking about AD when it comes to that. Like, you should demand the ball. And I'm like, man, shut up with that nonsense. Like, the offense, this is a little tangent. The offense sometimes is meant for AD to screen and step out and let LeBron post up and clear the lane of whatever big man. And for that, he needs to kind of step out. And he's not doing anything from out there. So, and that happens with other guards as well. I feel like sometimes the offense is meant for AD to not actually be that dominant guy. But here,
he can hit the jumper too.
He can. He's been doing a little less of it, but he still got it in him. So I think the same criticism applies to Embiid. I think he needs to demand the ball more. Not on the podium, on the but
floor.
in the game. You know what I mean?
In the paint.
In the paint.
Yeah.
So it's like, at the end of the day, it is what it is with all the different factors that could have led to this situation. But something needs to change. And Doc has had his chances. So, like you said, the writing's been on the wall. So I'm not upset about it. Like, and I agree with you. That's probably the least one we could attribute to him. You know, taking away that from that whole calling time on and giving him the ball. But something needs to change, man. So maybe a new voice can make a difference. But I'm of the mind that y'all that ain't gonna change nothing. Like, y'all can bring in a new coach, and unless y'all do something with the roster, unless the team, like Chris was saying, whatever chemistry, whatever gel, whatever needs to happen within the team structure and dynamics and culture, if that doesn't change, they're gonna be in the same place. Yep.
I agree.
Yeah, I don't have a problem with Doc Rivers getting fired. Sometimes you do need a new voice, a fresh voice, and he wasn't getting it done. I'm not even gonna sugarcoat that. But also, we need to go ahead and continue with this roster restructuring. I know I said it by his hairs a couple of times. I'm gonna say it a third time because this needs to be really driven. This guy needs to be gone. He's taking up so much of the contract. He's not giving you. If he's giving you the same amount of points as James Harden, and they both taking up the other 2/3 of your contract cap, and let's say Embiid's number one, he's taking up all of it or the best he can. The other two highest paid players are those two, and they're not giving you anything. You can't have two people doing that. And if it's between those two, I'll go Harden over Tobias Harris 10 times out of 10. PJ Tucker, cardio all season. That's all he was doing. Running, didn't do anything else with that. Maxey, keep him. He's great. Melton, great. No, everyone else, maybe Niang, keep Niang, because I like Niang. Everyone else is expendable. But this whole thing needs to be just restructured from top to bottom. Just gut everything out. Keep Embiid. Keep Harden. I will if it makes sense, and keep Melton because he's a good value piece. Because you need someone who's going to be a hard-nosed defender who's going to do all of the diving for the balls and stuff like that. And he's a good backup point guard. And Maxey's your firecracker either off the bench or just if you plug him in as a starter, he's going to give you. And he's still on a rookie contract. Don't move that. So everyone else can go. And if you want to try to rebuild something different, try to reestablish a different culture. I don't really care for the GM either, but that's they're not gonna fire them. It's hard to get GMs out. So ever since this whole trust the process slogan, culture, identity has begun, it's always been some problematic stuff going on. From either whether it's from the GM and management and how they was just saying stuff or whatever. I'm not look if you guys go look at the controversy about that, go for it. all the way down to them getting Jimmy Butler. They paying Tobias Harris over Jimmy Butler, let him go. Now you see Jimmy Butler out here about to go to the finals again. I don't understand. Ben Simmons, the whole Ben Simmons fiasco was tragic as well. Although not really his fault. I mean, the team's fault, but
maybe
what? It could be.
Yeah, maybe. Yeah.
You think, I'm hearing what you're saying. I don't know if Jimmy Butler's there, if he's the guy he is right now. I feel like if Joel Embiid were to leave this team, he would be a better player probably at this point. I think there's a culture issue. I don't know if this culture of sniping and taking each other down and not being focused. I don't know if that's coming from GM. I don't know if that's coming from the coach. But that it's at this point it's a culture issue.
Yeah. I don't think Jimmy Butler would be much impacted, but I could see an alternative world where he's there and the culture still exists. And I mean, he probably calls out play like he did in T-Wolves. Because he's like, hey, you guys aren't putting in the work that I'm putting in. I'm gonna call y'all out. You know what I'm saying? I'm sure he would have called out Tobias Harris if
That's also a culture issue.
Yeah. Well, I'm
sure Draymond calls out his teammates.
Yeah.
If that's a culture, if somebody's saying, hey, we can be better, and everybody goes in their respective corners and it's like, this is not a good place. Mm-hmm. That's a bad culture in itself too. So
yeah,
it could be opposite ends of the extreme, but voices, you need to promote leadership, and it seems like there's not leadership in Philly.
Yeah, or it's poor leadership in Philly. So yeah, I don't have a problem with Doc being fired. And I'm not saying that I want him fired, but my thing is, it's probably the easiest change you can do right now. You can
least
probably
effective change too.
Yeah. And so yeah, I look, dude, he'll find another job. Him and D'Antoni always find jobs. So
yeah,
he's gonna be back in the coaching circuit in pretty soon. So I'm sure maybe he should go back to Orlando.
Very successful. It's just the ultimate. If your goal is the ultimate level of success of we need a championship, he hasn't proven to be that. But regular season, he's been successful for quite some time.
I agree. Yeah,
they've been in the playoffs every year he was there, right?
Yeah.
There it is.
Yeah. So it's the Clippers.
A great team. Okay. Difference being, Clippers got there every year with 1 or 2 or 3 of their stars down.
True.
Right?
Yeah. True. So, okay. Anything else y'all want to say on Doc or the Philadelphia 76ers or Philadelphia as a city? Fan base, culture? Hey, man, y'all got some good Philly cheesesteaks, man.
Oh, yeah, the best.
I like their fan base. They hold their teams accountable. They boo you if you trash. So, and if you trash, you leave, they make fun of you on the news. I like that Ben Simmons cut. So
wow.
So
hey man, y'all should have treated Ben right.
Well, we know one man's trash is another person's less trash because he went to the Nets and he did nothing.
It's been downhill from there.
Oh, okay.
they broke Ben Simmons.
Wow.
It's hard to argue.
Wow. I think he broke himself. But anyway, let's move on, man. There's other coaches who did get fired, got the pink slip this offseason. Who are notable names? Nick Nurse is being one of them, Monty Williams being another one, Budenholzer being another one. So these people have all got Coach of the Year at one point in their career. And it's funny because I think Doc was made a comment. It's like, oh, well, how do you not get fired? He said, well, don't win Coach of the Year. And then he got fired. So anyways, he broke the code. Anyways, the highlight of this one though is Monty Williams, man, considering that everyone really loved Monty Williams for going 8-0 in the bubble back in 2020. And then just a year or two later going to the finals with DeAndre Ayton and then could not make it back since with DeAndre. Even when they got Kevin Durant, they still got DeAndre Ayton. So Phoenix, they good at their whole team. They got CP3 who also gets injured every playoffs. And they got to the first round. They look very convincing. They got to the second round and they got hit by the big Jokic. So where do the Knicks? Knicks. They're part of the Knicks. Where do the Suns go from here? Considering they fired their coach and they pretty much gutted their bench. But they still got KD and Devin Booker and possibly Chris Paul.
Where you going for it?
I'll let you go, Kev, man. I know you a big CP3 fan. You love that guy. Where does he go? I mean, where did the Suns go?
It was annoying to see that, man. He kept talking about this guy. He kept talking about he's gonna get, do his thing and get injured in the playoffs. And I'm like, oh, come on, man.
Happens every year.
Like,
Just like
this is gonna be the year where we prove Chris wrong. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
5, 4, 3, 2. Hamstring.
Yo, and this was a simple move. No, this wasn't nothing special. No, and they said he had a tight groin, I think it was, and I was like, okay, cool, that ain't nothing. You just pumped up. They're gonna do some massage, some little treatment, and you back next game. This dude was not back. We didn't see him again. He was gone.
Still looking for him. Stay farm.
I almost for 1 minute thought like, nah, this is on purpose. You don't want to play in the playoffs. You finding ways to keep yourself out of the playoffs. Like, come on, man.
Right.
Stop playing with me. Like a strained groin. Anyway, Suns gonna be okay, man. Like they do need to bring some more pieces in from what they gutted in order to improve their depth as well as defense, but they only had this little very, very short time to make what they had work. Yes, we've talked about KD being very plug and play, and he did demonstrate that. But at the same time, that has its limits, right? And we saw the limits of that. We saw it break down a little bit. It wasn't really as fluid as you would see in other teams that have spent a lot of time together, like we're seeing right now with Denver. Even with the Warriors, even though they've had some rocky things in the beginning of the season that caused a little bit of tension, we still saw them being able to move the ball, do their all these different switches, and play pretty fluidly. And I feel like with the Suns, it was mostly like KD, D-Book, and I don't know how long you could have ride that wave before it just collapsed. And you said they won the previous series convincingly. Who was it against again? Because I don't remember it being convincing.
It was the Clippers. Because Kawhi went down.
Yeah, it wasn't convincing.
And George was never there to begin with.
Yeah,
correct.
So
it didn't start out convincing. It didn't start out. And
no,
saying,
it didn't. It didn't.
Hey, it's gonna be a good series.
Mm-hmm.
And then
it was a good series until that happened. So
until that happened, I don't know if the coach had anything to do with this loss that they experienced. The coach barely had time to work with the new team that he had. Like, it's a new team. I think he could have given one more year and see what they do.
I didn't think the coaching was bad.
No, I didn't think so either. So I don't know where you're going with it mentally. Like, oh man, this coach isn't giving us X, so let me go ahead and find it. I don't know what that is, but it's a new owner, and I think from that perspective, we're not that surprised. You know what I mean? They did like to come in and put their stamp on things, change things up, and demonstrate, what they can do to make change, demonstrate change in the organization. So I think from that perspective, a lot of us wasn't surprised, and it is what it is based on the outcome. I think if he got further along, it might have had some hesitant to let him go, but given how they were blown out of the water, I think it made it a bit easier for him to say, all right, let me go start making my changes. And Monty was the one to take the brunt. He's a great coach. Like you said about Doc, he's good. He's going to probably get another job. I think he's even more in a front runner than Doc to be picked up. So he'd be all right.
I would agree with that.
Okay. I mean, I don't like the fact that Monty Williams got fired, but I do wanna propose a hypothetical, man. Can we just, when we fire coaches, can we also fire the GM? Like you can't fire one without the other. So if you fire the coach, you gotta fire both of them, because it didn't make any sense for you to take, like you said, you put Monty Williams with this situation where he has to figure out Kevin Durant and how he's going to be plugged into this system, and also, by the way, gutting your bench to get this guy, right? So the team that you got to the finals with is only half there. It's only Booker, Ayton, and Paul, and Campaign, who was injured for a little bit in the back end of the season, and you want him to work with that, work some magic to make that work. And I mean, and then on top of that, you guys didn't want to pay Ayton until someone else wanted to pay Ayton, and now you got disgruntled Aiden, he was already apathetic before the contract. So now he's going into this one like, hey bro, I have no like I don't care. I'm just coming here to work. Like the most detached player I've ever seen play black basketball.
Landell, man, that's crazy.
Huh?
You were starting Landell.
Oh yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like it just did not make any sense. I just feel like, yo, if you're going to fire a coach, GM got to go too. When y'all bring in a GM coach pair, like just make that a tandem, because man, it does not look good and the tandem can't be the same person. We can't have Doc Rivers being GM and coach. Like we can't do that. You on mute.
I said no Belichick situations.
No Belichick situations. You know what I'm saying? So, but I'm just like, I just feel like, number one, Suns have a aging point guard who, like I said, every year he does the same act. He's been doing the same thing since Clippers. This does not change every year.
It doesn't make any sense.
It doesn't make any sense. The only time he didn't do it, and probably because they didn't get past the first round, was OKC. He was with OKC, and they lost in a very close game. But anything past the second round, dude, gonna get injured. You can't play 16 games. You know what I'm saying? So, or high intensity games like that. I'm just saying.
That's the question, right? You say he can't play 16 games, but obviously he can play 16 games. Like, he just played 16 out of the 82 games in the season. So it's like, I don't know. You added the word, intensity.
High intensity. High intensity.
NBA, all games are intense. Listen, I'm gonna say this: hindsight, wouldn't have been crazy. Like when Paul went down, Booker and KD kind of unlocked. If they would have just traded away Chris Paul and Ayton and kept all those side pieces, they probably would have been front runners right now.
Yeah, I agree.
I'm not mad at that.
But they didn't. So
they just traded away the whole bench and lost CP anyway, and Ayton disappeared anyway.
See?
So
and Brooklyn would have been great with CP3 for the first series, because I mean that's all he got. He only has one series, the very first series. He's gonna give you good 7 strong games. It probably would have still lost in the first round, but at least would have been a better matchup than what ended up being what it was. I agree with you on that, though. I do agree with you on that, and I think it's time to we're hoping to see Chris Paul, his early 30s or his late 20s, New Orleans Chris Paul. No, it's okay. Like he's gone. You know what I'm saying? So I don't know, man. I think they should go ahead and get rid of Chris Paul, or at least make him a backup point guard to where his minutes are reduced to like about 15 to 20 minutes. And have someone else take over his starting point guard to just kind of better Bryant. He comes in for like closing moments or whatever if you need to, but I'm at the point where like you rebuild the bench, you put him on the bench to lead the bench. And
you think he'll do it?
I don't know. I mean, at that point he'll be the highest paid bench point guard at that point in time. But yeah, get rid of Aiden. He's apathetic. He doesn't even care. I don't think
Dominating?
Apathetic. Oh yeah. He spelled apathetic wrong.
Oh man,
this guy, the dominating the bench. So
if you call yourself that, you gotta show up.
Yeah, you gotta come up. Maybe he could do for a fresh chance. I would request a trade if I was Aiden, because it works out for some people.
It does.
Hachimura, he was always all right. But he seems to be shining right now.
Yeah,
don't be afraid to get that fresh coat of paint.
Yeah.
That's all it is. He was asking why coach got fired. It's a different. We need a fresh take. How we're looking at it right now is not looking. The easiest thing that they can change is somebody comes in with a fresh lens. It could be Steve Nash for one season. It didn't work out. Change the lens.
Mm-hmm.
Jack Vaughn seems to be working, so I think that's just the nature of the business, unfortunately. But it seems to be the easiest piece to move. You can't move your supermax player, you can't move the MVP, so we just change coaches and see if we can get a different chemistry from the same group. That's just what it seems to be.
But this is sad, dude. The dude he's making more money than Tobias Harris, and he's making up the same numbers as James Harden. Like, this is ridiculous. I'm not like, this is supposed to be your pillar. I'm sorry, this is not cutting it. And he's not even. He hasn't had one double in all of that Nuggets series. He's not. Huh?
I was gonna say he putting up James Harden numbers. Like I don't really think so, but
14, 8 and 4. Like this is your best big man. What is his specialty? I don't even understand his specialty. What does he do well?
who would you replace Monty with?
Somebody who got fired?
Available coaches. I mean,
Available, yeah.
Like, are we talking about somebody who's already on the roster available? Or like somebody who's out in the field?
People who you heard in the rumor mill that's available.
Free agents. Oh.
And there's Frank Vogel, Nick Nurse, Mike Budenholzer, Doc, Mike D'Antoni.
Ty Lue.
Frank Vogel wasn't bad.
Ty Lue is not in the block. Like,
Hey, man.
keep putting Ty Lue name in there.
Hey,
Frank Vogel wasn't bad. He won the chip. With
LeBron. Yeah, with LeBron.
Yeah.
LeBron be getting everyone chips, man.
Frank Vogel wasn't bad. I'll go with Frank.
Okay, you just randomly went with someone. The last person that we said.
Huh? No, you said a whole bunch. You said a whole bunch. You said a whole bunch. You said Nick Nurse. You guys said Ty Lue. You gave a whole gambit. I thought about it. What's you?
What's the last one you said? That one.
Nah, I don't. Nick Nurse.
It was the first one. It was the first one I said. It wasn't him.
Nick Nurse. I like what he did with the Raptors, but I'm not doing it. Budenholzer, another one is. I didn't get great coaching for them. This is how I saw it.
Gotcha.
I like what he does with players that, maximize their talents that are not superstars, but I didn't see him have a group of superstars and really push that. So that's why I said Frank Vogel.
Yeah, I feel you, man. So, all right, man. Anything else y'all want to add about the coaches? Last thing, y'all want to say something about Ja real quick, because he out here waving a gun on IG again.
Why?
Okay.
What you gotta put the he can't find new friends?
No, man. No new friends. That's what Jake said.
You don't want no new friends.
No new friends. That's what Drake said.
He gonna have old jobs. Same.
Maybe it wasn't his fault. You know what I mean? Because it looked like dude pulled up the video and he was like, he quickly probably, remembered, or at least this is not a good idea, because he was like, it was a flash. It was like, oops, nah, and he pulled it back. He pulled the camera back down.
First time it was Ja going live, right?
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay. Now it's the friend going live. The friend know the block is hot. Like, why I gotta go live? Do we have to go live? Do y'all go? We live right now, a little bit. But when is the last time you just like, no, I'm in the car, I need to go live. Pull out my gun, make sure like, what are we doing?
That's not you.
That's the culture, bro.
That's not you. Exactly. That's the culture for them.
Is it the culture for them? I don't see a lot of these players. He grew up in a rough neighborhood. I don't see him. That's not his culture. There's a lot of other young guys that are in the NBA right now. DeJounte Murray, he over here. He's a little rough around the edges. He bumping into refs, but he's not. That's not his culture. Who culture is that?
I don't know, man. 20-year-olds, bro.
Yeah.
There's other 20-year-olds who figured it out, bro. I don't know what to tell you. Like, I was reading a little bit on his friend of his. He has a clothing brand. Like, he's messing his own money up. Like, there's opportunities. LeBron opened up a pathway and a gateway for some friends. You can keep the old friends. Can we put away the old lifestyle?
I mean,
you don't gotta be that.
Can, but it's not as fun.
You know what's fun to me? That shoe deal. The contracts, the money's coming in, and the things y'all can do off camera, off live.
Oh, okay. I feel you.
No reason for it. So did Ja play us with this whole counseling, understand my ways, understand blah 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 blah. The whole speed.
So he did put out a statement. I'm gonna tell you. I'm gonna read the statement. He says, "I know I've disappointed a lot of people who have supported me. This is a journey, and I recognize there's more work to do. My words may not mean much right now, but I take full responsibility for my actions. I'm committed to continue to work on myself." So that's his statement after this latest latest fiasco.
That's the second script.
The second one.
Yeah,
He's following the script. You know, we talked about. I think one time we were talking about, I don't know, pre-pod or on wax of cancel culture and how people respond to things, and you know, he said all the things he was supposed to say. He followed the script that's supposed to appease the crowd. It's also about the work. That's why I always focus on the work. You go to this counseling. You went to the counseling. Was he participating? Maybe you need more counseling.
You probably do.
I mean, it was a short stint, man. Like everybody was like, "Wait, what?" Everybody was like, "Wait, what? What kind of express counseling is this?"
Yeah,
like, they got magic dust. Like, what did it do to you down there?
I agree. I think it was more so do this thing so we can let you play and make the backlash go away. I don't know if there was sincerity behind it. Yeah, I agree.
Well, he's looking to face a lengthy suspension. Adam Silver said something along the lines that, you know, expect the worst. You know, kind of expect the worst. So they're still investigating. And hey, man, just, you know what? Maybe guns ain't for you, dude. Just, you know, stay like. Have a restraining order on guns. Call the cops on a gun if you see one. Like, if you see a gun, you know, call firehouse, fire department, pay like something. Every time you see a gun, go across the street. That's not. We just didn't have a different relationship with guns at this point. Like, it's costing you money. If you don't care about the money, sure, you know, I guess you do what you want to do. But you know what I'm saying, at the end of the day, you know, it's just not a good look. So hopefully you figure it out before it figures you out, and you know, you be on the block with everyone else with guns. Y'all can have a gun party. Y'all could do gun things.
But why he flashing it though? Like that's the biggest thing. I'm like, dude, even if you do got something, okay, you in Tennessee, I think he said he was, or what I heard he was. You know, it's legal. You can have a handgun. You can openly or have it concealed. So, you know, you got your legal stuff with you, but why are you flashing it? Why are you making it seem like I gotta put this on blast, or I gotta make a show out of it? That's the part I'm struggling with. Like, why is that necessary?
It's a gun parade inside my city. That's why he's trying to be part of the parade. So
I don't know. I don't get it.
It's nobody, man.
It's wild, and I feel like he has way too many defenders at this point too. Enablers, I'm gonna call them. I'm not gonna call them defenders because, you know, like you were just saying, you don't need the gun. Somebody's making the point. Well, you know, Second Amendment doesn't he have rights? You don't have to advertise everything that you're doing, because you know certain people would have had different opinions if he was doing other things on the camera, right? But this is where they want to be like, oh well, I think this is okay. I think there's allowed to have brand associations that you don't like. If the NBA wants to have some criteria for their players, I think it's acceptable to be like, hey, we don't want to promote violence.
Yeah, and it's an at-will company. So just because you won't get arrested for it, but guess what? You can lose your job off of freedom of speech too. Paul Pierce got fired for enjoying himself, but he was on IG Live. Had some people in the background. It is what it is. Right. Exactly. So yeah. So I'll leave it there unless you guys had anything last minute thing y'all want to throw in there.
Man, I wish him the best. How long you think he's gonna get?
Oh man, look. If you want him to feel it, I'll give him 50 games just off top.
Oh, you more than half?
I'll go,
you
bro.
Only half.
You got
not even half.
You got Okay, 8 games you didn't feel it.
I like
8 games. 8 games. You
come on, Reg.
I like 50 for the reason of it'll really give you the time to sit and figure out, because maybe it's all going too fast right now. Like everything's happening so fast. It happened. You got suspended. You're right back in it. It's really gonna give you the opportunity to go what you want to do for those 50 games and figure out, do I want to do that or do I want to play basketball?
Yo, I don't agree with that, man. That's y'all went from 8 games to 50 games. That's 6x. That's a 6x jump, and that's a weird ass percentage when you consider the number of games in the season. It's 82 games. Like, you're not even trying to do a percentage off of the number.
You want to do 40?
You just like 50 games.
You want to do 40? I mean, I don't care. What I'm saying is, yeah, it doesn't have to be 50. Look, ballpark figure, 50 games. I'm going to quarter. I'm going to quarter of the season. Like, I think a quarter of the season is enough. But
Let me ask you a question. Do you think if this was, I don't know, Dylan what do you think his punishment would? You think it would have been 8 games?
I mean, Dylan Brooks got a mouth, but he ain't stupid. So I don't know. I mean, I haven't. This is the thing. I don't think Dylan Brooks is in that IG live culture. Like, but
I think what I'm trying to allude to is I feel like there's a lot of, when we're thinking about these figures and the consequences, I feel like there's a lot of taking into account. This is Ja Morant, the highlight reel, the dunker, the high play, the max contract, the star of the show. Many other people didn't even get this far. First time they caught you with weed in your pocket or you was brandishing a gun, you in jail, career's over. They got you one time, you got a punishment, you still doing the show, and you know we're gonna debate on how much time you could get. It's not guaranteed that you got a second chance in the first place. You got a second chance, and now you get your third chance. How do you respond to that?
Yeah,
it's gonna be the thing.
Yeah, I mean, I get your sentiment. Like I said, I don't know what the resolution would be. I mean, but again, I do want, look, anytime you see someone do the same stupid crime again, I mean, I feel like you didn't get it the first time. Like that's just maybe my that's how I think of the progression of thought. Like,
you're right. Yeah, you're right.
So 8 games you didn't feel it. Like it didn't hurt enough.
But double it, triple it.
Sure.
You went in sextuple it. Like
sure, I did. But guess what? I bet he'll feel it this time. And then if he does it again, you don't want to be in the league. Like we had to start to separate ourselves from you as a brand, as an organization. You may not get another contract, and that may still be a situation where like he becomes too radioactive to even deal with, no matter his talent. So
and that's where it's heading. That's why I'm like, you know, in comparison, rear X amount of games, 25, 30, 40. It's obviously 8 wasn't enough. Some people were expecting the rest of the seasons, or for him to miss the post like that. I think that would have really hurt.
Yeah,
they would have suspended him, you know, for the rest of the season last time. Yeah, and that wouldn't have been 50, but it would have really hurt. Postseason, teammates looking, to franchise looking at you like we were counting on you, messed up. Yep. They went ahead and was like, this is our cash cow, 8 games. Yeah. You know, so I don't know.
Yeah, but I mean, I get the sentiment of what is it, gross punishment, like, you know, going from 1 to 10x, man. But I just feel like, bro, what do you? This is the first time we've seen this happen, so we don't really know what the precedent is. Yeah. So it's up to them to figure out how much of it is, you know, going to be worth it. I would say this Malice in the Palace, obviously, there was like people who got like 40 games, 30 games. There was a lot of people who like that tore up all the Indiana Pacers season because a lot of their players got thrown out, and like they couldn't even play for the rest. Like they had like a third of their team gone. So yeah, you know, whatever it is, hopefully it's the last time. And if it ain't, look, bro, I think it's time to. I don't want it to happen, but it may be just best for him to just like not be in the NBA. It's just the pressure is just too much for him, or he doesn't know how to let go of some things. People are either you got Kwame Brown on IG or whatever social media talking to you about how stupid you are. NBA, call him NBA dumb boy because he out here acting stupid. So I'm like, man, bruh. So I mean, it's just like,
but was this before? Because usually, like now he has power and access. He has more spotlight. People are looking to get like the way they like this happened immediately. People's like, oh, report him. Like, obviously people are on eyes on him or whatever. But when you were, you know, 20 something in college or whatever he was doing before he made it to the NBA, if you were moving like this, I'm surprised you got this far. Most people don't.
That's the thing. I don't think he was. So is this
something he started dabbling in now that he's in the NBA?
It could be.
Because we're making it seem like, oh man, it's hard to put down your day ones and da 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 da. But he wasn't doing this before.
So I don't know exactly. Look, I would say from like just the something in the air in Memphis. It's hella toxic. Like as far as just that kind of brashness with like that culture or whatever, and it doesn't help with like Yo Gotti, Young Dolph. You know, I'm not blaming them, but because like they're making music, but some people really just gravitate towards that. You know, Glorilla, NBA, like I said, NBA YoungBoys there, Key Glock. There's a bunch of folks who like, and I mean, if you're a celebrity and you run around the city, a lot of people gravitate to you anyways because like, oh, like, you know, that's just kind of how the name the city is. That's how everyone kind of like took in Jack Randolph, for example. Like he really loved it. They probably took in Ja Morant very similarly because he's just like, oh, he seemed like a very humble kid and we want him to do good, and a bunch of like blue collar people just wanna surround him. But you know, again, he's 20, 21, 22. Guess who he's gonna gravitate to? The people who are around, you know, oh yeah, man. Like look at the Memphis Grizzlies games now. You see all the rappers sitting sideline. Yo Gotti down there. Like, so I think just that's just part of the air in Memphis at this point. And he just doesn't understand, like, bro, like this is just not something. It's nice to be entertained. You're an entertainer, they're entertainers. You're not going into like, you know, South Memphis with the gun. Like you're not doing it. You're not going to Memphis with like doing this with the gun. Like, bro, they're gonna be like, bro, first of all, they're gonna be like, what you doing? Get out of here. This is not for you. But if they really feel like you was about their life, or someone really wanted to run up on you, I mean, unfortunately, it happened to Young Dolph. He got knocked off getting something for his mom at a cake store, at a bakery, right? Cookie store, yeah. Like, yo, people be out here doing that for real, but it's just that's the air that's in Memphis, and it becomes really a very choking. It's easy to get caught up in that space. So I don't know if it's him being exposed to Memphis, because I mean I wouldn't be surprised, or it could be like, damn, those are his day ones, or people like, but you know what I'm saying? It doesn't really matter at the end of the day. If you hang around people who think that that's cool and you think it's cool too, you're gonna do it because you think it's cool. No one's making money but you do. So y'all on different levels and planes. You trying to get your PhD. They trying to become the fry guy at McDonald's. Nothing wrong with that, because we need both of them. But you know, you need to spend your time trying to perfect your PhD. They need to work on doing this other stuff. So
sometimes you gotta lead the girl. Like, I'm sure, I don't know if he went to college locally. Like, you've done it before. Like, we all, like, all of us are transplants.
Yeah.
Sometimes you gotta make sacrifices to make your dreams come true. Like,
yeah,
it's not that hard. I know it's hard, but it's not that hard.
Yeah. So
hundreds of millions of dollars. That's
what I'm saying. Like the start, I don't know how bad. If they was down bad, if they had a poverty story, if they was just regular middle class folk, but they wasn't multimillionaires, and you get to put that away and go expose yourself to. I think that's why you're doing it for. Maybe he just loved the game. He'll just be playing on the park. Maybe he's one of those guys, but I think that the vessel was to be on the stage and do it for everyone.
That's what he said he wanted. You know what I'm saying? He said he wants the competition. He think he's the best player. Look, he said he can beat Jordan. Like
I hear people, like, I hear when people
you went mute again.
Some people not even. Oh, my bad. You can't hear me still?
We can hear you now. I don't know, man.
Yeah, I was just like, some people just be like leaving their home countries, go live up in start a whole new life. Yeah. How often do you get to see your day one?
Yeah.
You gotta do what you gotta do. Like, it's not that hard.
Yeah.
It's not that hard.
Yeah.
So I don't know, man. Figure it out, Ja. I mean, like I said, I'm good. I'm good with 50. I'm good with 40. I'm good with 25. I'm good with none because he's on my team. But I need him to learn. I just need him to learn as a person. I don't even care about him playing anymore.
Yeah, I want him to be safe. I want him to be out here. Like,
or trade him to Utah, like where it's just it's not that bad. You know, it's not as you know, the. Whew. Anywho.
I'm not sure if punishment even drives learning, to be honest with you. I don't think the studies have proved that out, but what would he take for him to learn? I don't know. I think that needs to be a very intimate thing that he decides, whether it's counseling or the nearer people around him help to get into that level of understanding.
Yeah.
Because it's hard. It's hard to just say, "Oh man, I got punished." Because look what we saw, right? I mean, he got punished. He right back at it, and You said the punishment probably wasn't enough, but
Yeah. All right, they're gonna make you feel it now.
I would be fine if it wasn't 50 games, but whatever amount of time that they would have, say the compromise is, hey, we want you to go through some kind of approved curriculum or training program, do it in the off season.
Might as well get it in now. Might as well get started, dude.
Yeah. If you show that level of commitment, I think that's what it is. To bring up your point, it's not necessarily a certain punishment. I don't think 16 games or 32 games is gonna make him be like, aha, you know what I mean? I think resources and time. That's it.
yeah. Good way to put it. Resources and time.
Yeah.
All right, guys, we're logging the tooth, man. We go ahead and wrap up. I thought that was gonna be real quick, but I had a lot to say about Ja. So we go
Shout
ahead
out to the
close
Grizzlies, man. Can't wait to see y'all next season. Like, follow, subscribe. That's it, man.
Cool.
Keep it short.
All right, man. Okay, what you got, man?
I could wait to see the Grizzlies. I'm not in no rush. Not in no rush at all. But I'm in a rush to see the Warriors back on the scene. We're gonna try to make that run again next year. We're not out yet. We had some problems this year, but it's okay. We live, we learn, we grow. Yes, I said it. I don't know why your face looked like that. We made it further than you guys.
This is what we doing? This is what we doing? I made it in 7th place.
Hey,
You only
I'm just talking
10th.
about the fact.
Hey,
Sorry, the tone messed it up.
Whoa.
We made it further than.
They stopped the beam.
Yeah.
Whoa. Okay.
We beat an upper seed to get where we at. Y'all lost to a lower seed.
Whoa. We were injured. Y'all were fully healthy. What's your point? See, we can do this. We can do this bar back and forth all day.
GP wasn't fully healthy and Wiggins had some.
Oh, no. But hold on. We just said if you injured, you're playing. Miami Heat
Was he
got Jimmy
playing?
Butler.
Was he playing right away?
Wiggins was playing.
No, I said GP.
GP was playing too. You didn't see him, but he was playing. He was playing. Yeah. He must be guarding somebody. I don't know. He played more than Wiseman on the Golden State Warriors in the playoffs, so I guess you can say that.
Yikes.
You can say that. Jordan Poole.
No, I just didn't know. I didn't know if he was available for the beginning of the playoffs or not.
Yeah, he was.
I saw him play. Obviously, I just didn't know if it was like game 1 of series 1.
Yeah. So.
All right.
But cool, good.
Klay Thompson.
Congratulations.
2 years.
He wasn't right.
2 years.
He wasn't right.
Yeah, 2 years.
Congratulations, man.
He was not right, man. He was not right.
Oh, he wasn't right. He ain't been right since he came back. But you know what I'm saying. Y'all said Game 6 Klay last year, and now I don't know, man, because
I disagree with that because he's had his best months this season, and he played pretty well. Just even Curry though. So like if you can say that about Klay, you can say that about Curry, right? Curry, his 3-point game was like just shot for like 2-3 games back to back. It was like ridiculous. Like it was weird to see, but it was what it was. Sometimes that's what happens with shooters.
We know where all the blame's been going on the internet.
Jordan Poole. I love
Everybody
Jordan Poole. I love Jordan Poole. Poole party.
We're going to another topic.
All right, cool. All right. Well, I'm curious to see about the Grizzlies. I'm not curious to see about what's going to happen with the Warriors because guess what? I don't want to see no more Poole parties because that's what we saw all playoffs and parts of this regular season. So I'm glad he's come back down to earth and y'all kept trying to talk about how he's supposed to be the next best thing, and he's still not
down the pool hours,
still not better than Jordan Clarkson. So I'm gonna keep that there on the table.
Andrew
Wiggins, two-way wigs. No one's interested in seeing two-way wigs because it doesn't exist. So, anyways, I'm less inclined to see about the Warriors. I mean, shout out to Curry. He's my fave. But everyone else,
For his basketball prowess, are you gonna say something like because he's?
Just say he's my favorite. Like if anything, he's the only one who showed up to the playoffs this off the Golden State Warriors. Clay showed up for like 3 games. That's about it.
Everybody showed up, man.
Oh, okay. All right.
Wiggins was there. Wiggins never.
Okay. Yeah.
He was consistent ones.
He went back to just being a silent Wiggins instead of being the loud Wiggins.
He did not. You're making that up, but it's okay.
Okay.
You can see what.
All right. He reverted back to a Harrison Barnes version of.
No, he was playing.
Shout out to Harrison Barnes because that man was playing like he was trying to get another Warriors contract.
Oh, okay.
If he would have just played like that, y'all would have had another chip.
Maybe.
Anyway.
Maybe. But let us know how you feel about these firings. Let us know how you feel about Philadelphia 76ers. Joel Embiid, the MVP that was named, but not my MVP. And yeah, Ja. Let us know how you feel about Ja. This is we doing this whole thing again. In fact, just go back watch the old episode.
Deja vu.
For real.
So yeah, we're here every Wednesday. At least for the near future, or until we're not here on Wednesday. So until next Wednesday, I'll just catch y'all with the deuces, man. So I'll catch y'all later, man. Out later.
Peace.